Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video. Today we're going to be playing a deck that wins, although honestly I'm confused how this deck works so well. So Damien asked me to run back Dark Vial Elves. Elves is a bit of a stretch, we're not actually playing that many of them. So we are going to play staple on this channel, Fiend Artisan, which I'm not sure has ever successfully been activated on this channel, but damn it, we're gonna try. So, what's going on here? The deck is kind of built around Wirewood Herald. When it dies, you can search your library for an elf card, reveal it, and put it into your hand. So the idea is you vial in a Wirewood Herald mid-combat, you block with it. You search up Maralen of the Mornsong. You did this during your opponent's turn, so you're going to get to go and tutor first. So you pay your 3 life, you tutor up an opposition agent, you vial it in, and now all of a sudden you have this situation where you have locked your opponents out of cards for the rest of the game. But you can also just play a mid-range beatdown game with Fiend Artisan and Elvish Reclaimer and Urza's Saga. And when you look at this deck, you see something that lacks focus, right? Like we're this Urza's Saga deck list without the Ancient Tombs to accelerate it. We're a Vile deck list with only 20 creatures. Got Cabal therapies, but most of our creatures, other than the Herald, we don't actually want to sacrifice. It's this weird amalgamation of stuff that just somehow works. I played it to pretty good results. I know my podcast co-host Bosch and Roll played it to decent results, and it baffles me, but somehow this pile of cards ended up working out pretty well. I'm playing the list Damien sent with 2 changes. I swapped out 2 of the sideboard cards for copies of Force of Vigor. I just felt like the deck needed just a little bit more versus something like, say, 8 cast, where I really need to take out some artifacts. Like Collector Oof is great, and we have both Green Sun and Fiend Artisan to find it. I just wanted a little bit more here. So yeah, we're gonna see how this plays. Last time it went well. Will it happen again? If you're new here and you like what you see, please consider subscribing. And if you're a regular, throw me a like before this video begins. It is the easiest way to support my content for free. Let's battle. Okay, I have a hand of Magic the Gathering cards. I don't really know that this hand does anything. It maybe plays a turn 3 opposition agent. It has a couple of Cabal therapies. I can't cast them both in the same turn. This feels like lands and spells that don't win the game. I think I'm just gonna ship this. I think 3 of these cards are situational. It's fine as long as Once Upon a Time hits a land. A green land. I think I have to keep it after the mulligan. I'm not guaranteed to have a swamp here, so I'm gonna pitch Snuff out. I'm gonna wait until after I draw to play this. And hopefully this doesn't get dazed. But I can't play Urza Saga on turn 1, I just need to try to play a green land. Hey, a green land. I think I just get the basic forest. Getting wastelanded right now is just so incredibly rough. So I think I'm going to drop that into Dryad Arbor and call it a turn. Rationale for that over Hierarch is that if one of these gets removed, I want it to be the Hierarch because the exalted damage from this can be relevant later. If my opponent is playing some sort of Miracles-esque deck, I think straight up I'm just going to lose to it. Any sort of Maverick, go wide, have lots of creature deck is just so incredibly soft to something like a Terminus. Swamp's not bad. I think Urza Saga is the short-term plan, though. Go ahead and drop this. And Hierarch. This is specifically a dies trigger, so I'm unlikely to get full value if my opponent Terminuses. Yep. Yeah, we're losing this matchup. It'll take me another 20 minutes to lose, but I don't think I beat the Terminus deck most of the time. Like, Fiend Artisan is going to be awful versus this deck because all of the removal is going to exile or whatever. But at the same time, if I hold back, like, their control elements are just going to outpace me. Alright, no shuffle on that Ponder. We'll do some Urza Saga stuff. It's good value. Losing out on this land is going to suck a little bit and is going to drastically decrease my ability to multi-spell. Oh, cool. It seems like my opponent is going to miss a land drop here. Token it up. Pithing Needle is nice backup, I suppose. Or if my opponent does find one of their various planeswalkers. Yeah. So in case you're not familiar with this interaction, Dress Down removes the ability that gives the tokens power and toughness. So they just die. Retrofitter Foundry is okay long term. I guess I'll pick it up. Like, it and Vial are of similar value. I think either one is probably just going to eat something like a Prismatic Ending at some point this game, but, like, this game is over. Like, my opponent has Terminused me, gotten a 3-for-1. They've dressed down to me, gotten all of my Urza Saga value. What I am doing here is just not going to keep up. My opponent gets Uro next turn. Don't have a Snuff Out to immediately answer that. This is probably the point where I can more seriously think about just conceding. I'll play another turn. Drop a Fiend Artisan and a secondary creature here. But again, like, this is turn 5, Fiend Artisan is a 1/1. And even if I do draw... Okay, Uro isn't happening right away. Even if I do draw a land, the Fiend Artisan activation is only for a relatively small number. Okay, there's a Swords on my Fiend Artisan. This is mana tapped. But, like, the value differential between my cards and my opponent's cards here is just so massive. Little Haywire Might that could. Just gonna start activating this. I can play the Wirewood Herald out later. I think I need to start working towards a larger body. Yeah, but this is not great. My opponent has 7 cards, none of them are lands. I think we can probably concede if I don't have a good draw here. Like, I can play this game of block, sack the token, my opponent accrues cards and land drops, and I've got nothing else going on here, but I think I've just gotta hope to come out of the gates faster. I'm never beating my opponent in a long game in this matchup. Just absolutely never. I can play Endurances to help out with Uro. But, like, my opponents like Uros and Minsk and Booze and stuff are just going to take over this game so much faster than anything in my deck. I'm going to junk Cabal Therapies. I might need Thoughtseize to just get myself to punch a hole for the early game, but, like, I'm not that aggro. Where Might can probably go. If possible, my opponent's on, like, Staff or something. Yeah, my cards just line up so poorly with this white removal and oppressive control elements. I don't know how I am supposed to wiggle towards a win. Just conceptually speaking. I think the answer is win or set myself up strongly in the initial turns of the game. I'm going to play Thoughtseize in an attempt to kind of force my stuff through, but okay. This is doable. We get to do one of my favorite tricks in all of Magic here. Is Vial in a Dryad Arbor. This is a hand that is just absolutely going to eat it to a Terminus. So my opponent seems to have Prismatic Ending, probably. Tap that. Throw in a Dryad Arbor. Got decent decent value off the Vial there. Ooh. This is a really good start. Because this can start making the Fiend Artisan look more impressive. Alright, good stuff. My mana's a touch awkward here. Like, if my Dryad Arbor dies, I can't actually activate Urza Saga easily. Okay, well, goodbye, Urza Saga. I just need more mana. I'm actually gonna Grist plus now. Right, 2 things in there. I think I'm gonna drop a Fiend Artisan. and just try to capitalize on my early game advantage with as much aggro stuff as I can do before my opponent has time to set up a terminus. 'Cause that'll be rough. All my stuff going to exile also makes the Grist ultimate considerably worse. Oof. Alright. So keep plus in here. Try to make Fiend Artisan bigger. Not succeed. I'll make a land drop. Junk my opponent's graveyard. I don't think I play more stuff here. I think I just turn the stuff that I do have sideways. Again, I just have to get in as much damage as I possibly can before my opponent terminuses me or Supreme Verdicts me. I'm fine versus 1-for-1 removal, but I'm just so dead to terminus. Like, even just having a Grist, Sylvan Library is not going to be particularly strong here. Alright, another land drop. Do a Fiend Artisan for activation for X equals 1. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to turn it sideways. While not getting bigger. Yep, turn him sideways. Sylvan Library, while not being great in the like pay life aspect, is going to be great in the other selection aspect in terms of like finding a terminus. But may not be fast enough. I have a good amount of damage showing plus a Grist ultimate that hits for 2. What you got is an Uro. My opponent to 9. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Still theoretically lethal. Not lethal anymore. Thought seize before I do anything else here. Okay, the illusion of choice. Get rid of a Minsk and Boo. I think I'm turning creatures sideways. Yeah. Opponent goes to 4. Go ahead and just keep Grist plussing. There's another creature in graveyard now. So if my opponent fetches, a Grist ultimate becomes lethal. Okay, we got a game there. That turn 2 Grist was very strong. And we dodged Terminus. I don't think I'm going to change anything about my boarding here. I could play the Plague Engineer so that I can have something that I can preemptively play versus a hamster from Minsk and Boo. I'm going to do that over a Wirewood Herald. The Guy's Cradle is going to be really rough as a mana source in this matchup. I don't think this hand is keepable. I think like this doesn't produce these colors. This is not going to be a consistent mana source. I would rather have like a mana accelerant into Grist or something like that. This is kind of whatever. I'm not excited about it. I am going to keep it. Throw back Fiend Artisan. I'm not really ready for that card yet. I want to keep the Caracas because of how good it is against my opponent's threats. And we'll try to use my draw step and the Once Upon a Time figure out like the texture of what I'm doing with this hand. Urza Saga Forever? Urza Saga Forever. Let's Thought Seize my opponent. They'll brainstorm in response and hide their best cards. Ooh, no. That Wasteland's going to be real good against me, though. I will take their Swords to Plowshares. Oh, yeah, that's really awkward that I have 3 non-black-green lands in hand. Utility lands are not free, folks. Never didn't have it. I'll drop this. Drop the Reclaimer. We'll see if my opponent trades Prismatic Ending with it. Like, Reclaimer's not very good here. Like, I can't super activate it for Cradle, which is often like the thing that you want to do, because my opponent just has sweepers that make that prospect quite bad. Yeah, we'll be starting the Urza Saga plan, and I'll play out a Hierarch for the rest of my turn. Not exactly the biggest fan of everything that's going on here. Like, I can bounce this Uro to keep it from being a problem in the long term, but that gives my opponent... Oh, JK. That's a little weird. I'm going to try to not give up my Urza Saga value? I don't know. I can't really do that. So the big question here is, do I attack for 1? This leaves up Caracas and Urza Saga activate. I don't attack for 1 because then I don't have green up for Endurance. My opponent has 4 cards in graveyard currently. Okay, that is too juicy to not attempt. We'll attempt Endurance. That clears out all those lands. I lose some Urza Saga value, but that was pretty nice. So let's go ahead, activate Urza Saga while leaving up Caracas. I just want a Retrofitter Foundry here. Just increases the number of artifacts that I have substantially. And I do get an Exalted attack here. Alright, my board's looking pretty good. Dredge? No Dredge. I might cobble together a win here, despite the fact that I think my deck is woefully unfavored in this matchup. Yeah, so end of turn. Make a Deuter. Urza Saga ticks up. I think I do a free combat look-see at the hand over there. Undermountain Adventurer and Minsk and Boo, neither of which my opponent was willing to play out. I think I take the Undermountain Adventurer here. Taking them with Minsk and Boo and Plains. Go ahead and send in all of this stuff. 3, 6, 7. I can make it 8 damage. I think I will make the other construct now. Opponent goes to 10. And save like a Blind Terminus or Supreme Verdict here. Probably have lethal next turn. Oh, we have gotten the GGs. See, this is what I mean about this deck. Like, it doesn't seem like it should work. It seems like it's not favored, and then it cobbled together a win somehow. I have a weird looking hand here. I'm on the draw. I have an Aether Vial and an Ignoble Hierarch to kind of help out with mana. I think I'm supposed to keep it. It's a little clunky. Swamp? Not confident enough off of Swamp to just blind Cabal Therapy my opponent. So the big question here is, like, what land am I getting? I think it has to be Bayou. And I think I start on Vial. If I start on Hierarch, I open up my opponent's cards like Fatal Push or Dismember or Snuff Out to be good in the first turn cycle. Oh, well. Fuck me then. Game 2. Pretty cool art. And I assume my opponent reanimates a Grizzlebrand and I'm just dunzo. I do have Caracas that I can draw. But outside of Caracas, life's pretty bad. I should maybe even just concede here. Bayou Aether Vial is a weird ass start that is very hard to tell what deck I'm on. Conserving that information may be important. I think I will concede if my opponent targets me with a discard spell. They're targeting themselves. Okay, they're going to get an Archon into play as well. With both of those creatures in play on turn 1, I'm comfortable just conceding. So 2 Leyline, 4 Thoughtseizes, 3 Endurances. Collector Oof is technically a thing that I could choose to do. Snuff Out is usually not good in this matchup. Undermountain Adventurer seems slow and doesn't immediately impact what my opponent is doing. Retrofitter Foundry is pretty slow. Pithing Needle has text, but is not exciting. Trying to stop things from getting into play, not depower a Grizzlebrand. Like a 7/7 lifelinking flyer is going to beat me most of the time in this deck. And from there, I'm looking at Cabal Therapy and Wirewood Herald. Wirewood Herald is just, like, not gonna die, and cutting either one of these makes the other one worse. Undermountain Adventurer may just stay in the deck as another threat, given how weak a lot of the rest of this looks. Or I could just, like, not Therapy and do something like this. I guess, like, Therapy is reasonable if I thought Seize first. Something in this ballpark is okay. Yeah? A little awkward. I think it's a keep. But I also think I don't cast Once Upon a Time, and I hold Once Upon a Time in hand as a green card. Is odd, but that's where I'm at. The hope is that Endurance can weather a turn cycle, and then I just play a turn 2 Opposition Agent at sorcery speed. Alright. Bayou. We'll grab a Dryad Arbor. So rare that I have a Once Upon a Time in my opener, and it's just, like, not correct to cast it. Like, so incredibly rare. Cradle. I can play out a Cradle here rather than an Urza Saga. Go ahead and pass the turn. And try to get my opponent when they fetch end of turn. Yep. Got him. Yeah. Yeah, that's about how I thought that would go. Now I have to try to do something on the draw, though, which is considerably harder. Opening on a ley line this game would be fucking hot. I know I only have 2 of them, but that would be cool. Do I keep it? I just talked about how good it would be to open on a ley line, right? 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 Oh, don't look, YouTube comments. This is shameful. But if I were the opponent, I would not be expecting leyline here. Like, I would be expecting endurance, and did I Thoughtseize them? Did I show them Thoughtseize? Like, maybe surgical if they see Thoughtseize? I think I would mulligan this one on the play, though. Just by the way. On the draw just gives me an extra chance to hit any land or Once Upon a Time to do the thing. No, they never are going to know my shame. Magic's fucking great. We're 2-0. Hey folks, Phil here. If you're enjoying the show and you find yourself regularly watching, please consider doing something to financially support me. This whole content creation thing is my primary job as of the end of the month, and you can support me by doing donation deck lists, YouTube memberships, Patreons, or just throwing me likes and comments if you're not in a position to financially support me. Alright, plug over, back to the sweet jank. Alright, we're on the play for our next round here. I think I am supposed to lead on Ignoble Hierarch. I just would like to be able to vomit cards onto the board next turn, and hopefully go wide of what my opponent is initially doing. The Elvish Reclaimers aren't super great right now. Oh no. Not Tundra. My hand got so much worse here. I really need another land. Or alternatively, I need Elvish Reclaimer to live so that I can turn Urza's Saga into a different land. Like, either one of those scenarios is okay. Okay. So, I will play the cards that I am capable of playing. Drop a Pithing Needle. Opponent will fetch in response. No covered island. A fairy is maybe a decent name here. I think we'll go with Teferi. And if my Elvish Reclaimer lives, I can then go ahead and rotate Urza's Saga out next turn with its trigger on the stack. Could have named Flooded Strand. Yeah, they are straight blue-white control. Yeah, that was one of the other things that I could have reasonably named. But, like, before I know just losing this land. So I will be on 1 land. My opponent doesn't have that many cards. I guess it's theoretically possible for me to get out of this. I can get Haywire Might and take out the staff and hope to just top deck a bunch of mana sources. Or I can get Vial and try to eventually Vial these things in, but let my opponent draw cards. I think I need the Vial, being on 1 mana. But this does not feel good. I think if I just use my Urza Saga to get the Might here and take out Staff, I'm just not advancing my own board. And my opponent's control deck is going to beat me in the long term. So I think I just let them have the card from Staff and hope they don't draw another. Well, I have an answer to that in hand if I draw an appropriate land. And if I don't, I'm dead. Pick up. Did not draw an appropriate land. Utility lands are not free. Louder for the folks watching with subtitles. Okay, so they are Bant instead of straight blue-white. Sure? Come on. Come on. Telling me there's a chance. My Vial not looking great after I ripped 2 lands in a row. Oh shit. I get to... Nope. I am not. Mentor makes a token, triggering the staff. I eat endurance, I end up taking more damage here. I clear out my opponent's graveyard, but this is a pretty rough board. We're going up to 3 with this. So I can make a 4/4 token, or I can try to Once Upon a Time for a Bayou to kill Monastery Mentor. Because unfortunately, I think what I have to do, I just need the black source here. Grist is almost good. Don't have an onboard creature though. I am going to take a Misty for a Bayou here. Put another land in my graveyard, so if I draw an Elvish Reclaimer, I will have 3 things in graveyard. And let's attempt to take out Mentor. Opponent will draw their card. Yeah. So they get such good value off of Force of Will effects with a Mentor and a Staff in play. So that is needled, so this definitely could be worse. But it's still bad. Let's be clear. Yeah. I don't think I can come back from this anymore. Like, I can Vial in an Undermountain Adventurer. Initiative is just gonna kill me. Check this up. Wrist. I do this thing. I can have 2 decently sized bodies and still probably take lethal amounts of damage. I'm gonna go ahead and concede and not show my opponent any more cards here. I didn't see red this game, so probably no Minsk and Boo, but my opponent is a relatively hard Bant control deck. And something that I talked about somewhat recently on the podcast, but I actually haven't had a chance to test yet, is like, I don't know how I'm supposed to board against staff. Like, Oof is reasonable. Oof still turns sideways. Do I still do something like Force of Vigor? That I'm a lot less sure about. Like, I think I'm on board with this stuff. I don't think I'm going Force of Vigor deep. Against these white decks, I don't super like this stuff. And then from here, like, do I want to play Thoughtseize to try to punch the early hole in my opponent's synergies? Or do I just want more decent endgame top decks? Take out Maralen. I think I'm okay with these cards as is. Possible Thoughtseize is good. So, like, this has lands and spells. Like, it's turn 1 Haywire Might, poke my opponent with it for 2 turns, then play Endurance. But this is basically a 6-card hand already, and I think I can fish for better than this. Yes. I probably get rid of the Vial with this hand. Try to keep the Mana Dork. I'll start on Bayou, just immediately putting lands into my graveyard for a future Elvish Reclaimer. And we'll see if my Mana Dork makes it around the table. My guess is just no. My opponent's got swords and Prismatic Ending in their deck to keep me from doing my thing early. So I think I just pass the turn with Opposition Agent and Endurance available. And if my opponent fetches, I Opposition Agent. If they don't fetch, I Endurance. Okay. Decision made. Attempt Opposition Agent. Ooh, second swords. So now they are on their colors. They probably have something like a Monastery Mentor that they were about to tap out for. But since I don't know which one it is, I'm not comfortable in playing Plague Engineer out first. I'll just play an instant speed Endurance at their end step or in response to a Teferi or whatever. Alright, attempt end of turn Endurance. Be sad if my opponent has Snapcaster Mage. Goodbye Graveyard. Cool. I will just play this out pre-combat in case I need to get saucy and play another Endurance in combat for some reason. I don't super see happening. Wandering Emperor is quite good. My opponent will go ahead and minus that to exile my creature. And I'll jam this. Two twos? Two twos. Alright, there's a Brainstorm from my opponent. Wandering Emperor is going to get such good value against me. Not happy about it. Scrubland. Fuck. Okay. That is taking out 2 of my opponent's lands, but they have this Planeswalker. Oh. Do you have a 3rd copy of Swords to Plowshares? Because if you don't, this is really fucking good for me. Nice. Alright, Urza Saga ticks up. Drop a Cradle. And attempt to kill the Wandering Emperor. Oh shit, it worked. Okay. The life ain't great. Like, I think my opponent is favored in this spot. I've got 3 tap lands to their 2. Fuck. This is probably worth my Gaia's Cradle. I just float a mana here. Let Endurance go away. And at least get a creature on the board. Otherwise, my Gaia's Cradle is untapped, but is not tapping for any mana. Ooh. Are you just fetching now because of Opposition Agent? Yes. Strong land, Lair of the Hydra. This is a pretty good Aether Vial spot, actually. Although Pithing Needle on Staff of the Storyteller is very good as well. I think I need the Vial. Tapped land. Attack with the Servo. Pass the turn. Okay. That's real bad. So that I can F6, I'm just going to do this now. Create my flyer. I'm okay if I can get to Plague Engineer before dying, but that's pretty unlikely. I'll tick up Vial. I can instant speed, put in a Dryad Arbor. I think I need to hold this back. Oh wait, hold on. Sorry, this Vial has already ticked up. I need to do this now. Oh, come on! Shit. Unless you pay 2. Yeah, so I just, like, can't afford to keep most of this stuff. Alright. So I can sacrifice this Thopter to make a 4/4 that I don't have to pay for. I just have to let this go. Okay. Life's not great. These powerful enchantments are going to bury me. Like, the Mentor is the thing that is going to kill me, but the Back to Basics is what beat me. Well, they've got Retrofitter Foundry as well. That's cute with Staff of the Storyteller. If I'm going to another game, I don't remember what the match count here is, but if I go to another game, I think I need Force of Vigor. Like, Energy Flux and Back to Basics are rough. I probably just, like, have to block here in hopes of spiking a black land to kill all the rest of these. Just preserve my life total. Negative. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, so this is the Retrofitter Foundry Energy Flux combo. Good combo. Alright, I lose Reclaimer. Not entirely sure if that's better than just, like, removing my Dryad Arbor, though. I eat all this damage. And do I draw the black land? No. I am comfortable conceding here. They win the match. GG's. Alright, round 4, we're 2-1. I think I keep the opening hand. If Ignoble Hierarch gets removed, this hand falls apart. If it doesn't, like, Opposition Agent and Grist are relatively strong early game plays, as is Undermountain Adventurer. The tapped land, though, is pretty brutal. Phyrexian Tower also not making black mana is a huge deal if Ignoble Hierarch gets removed. Well, I guess if that gets removed, I can take the turn off to Bojuka Bog. Okay. Chalice is fine. What's that? Trinisphere. Trinisphere is totally fine. I just play Grist this turn, I think. It's like, is my opponent playing Initiative and I need the Opposition Agent in play, or are they playing red? This was a Spirit Guide. It could go either way. I think I'm just going to put Grist onto the empty board here. If it's wrong, it's not wrong by much. And this will potentially start scaling up Fiend Artisans and Friends for a little bit later. I'm actually in pretty good shape here. Okay. All right, so we are, well, I mean, it's more likely that we are playing against a Moon Stompy variant now. Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Solid value. I'll probably just shoot this thing and play an initiative creature and call that good. I guess I attack for 2 first. Exalted is a thing. Yield to that. Alright, opponent's at 18. Minus Grist. Destroy the token. Make a land drop. Do an Undermountain Adventurer, which gets me my other basic. Grab a swamp. I have played a land this turn. I just get to like forge this up and then have a 5/6 vigilant creature. And I'll be able to like plus Grist and have another Grist minus available to take out the backside of Fable. Yeah, so we are very, very, very likely playing against a mono red variant. I think we've got game 1. My opponent has played their land drop, so now they can't do something like Fury. Forge this up. Now out of range of red removal. Just to attack for 6 because of Ignoble Hierarch. Bring my opponent to 12. Plus Grist. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with land drop. Probably a decent turn to just slam the Bojuka Bog. Oh, this is also a Mana Dork. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I forgot about the Mana Dork side. I'll drop a Fiend Artisan. Drop an Opposition Agent. I was so focused on just like the Vigilant side for 1/1 token purposes, but that doesn't actually super matter here. Now I just kill my Ignoble Hierarch to get this out of the way. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage. I also, I guess, could assemble the Maralen of the Mornsong lock. Oh, right. There's also just Trap. So drain my opponent for a bunch here. Do I have any sweet utility creature that I would actually want to search up here? Another Grist. Go ahead and just minus this. Sack a creature. Destroy a thing. Activate this. Sack a creature. Get a new Grist. Keep this Grist. Sacrifice a Fiend Artisan. Destroy the Shaman. Alright, that was a cool turn. There, we have activated Fiend Artisan on the channel. We did it, folks. Okay. All I want to do is play a nice mid-range game like I just did there versus my opponent. So I just want bodies. I probably don't want Cabal Therapies. Pithing Needle has text. I'm probably not excited about it. Probably get rid of this. Kind of hard for me to assemble this lock. And Wirewood Herald is not a super interesting body. So can I play 3 more of these cards reasonably and be happy with how my deck looks? Force of Vigor is not crazy. It can get me out of some binds. Not like the individual lock pieces are that good against me, but I can definitely get Blood Mooned out of a game. I'm okay playing those. Everything else is a little awkward. Like, I might just play a Wirewood Herald as another green thing that pitches to Force of Vigor that can just tutor an Elvish Reclaimer. Oof is medium. It shuts off some cards that can be kind of important. Alright. See how this does. This is pretty okay against a singular creature start. It won't be great versus a Blood Moon start. It's slow but acceptable versus Trinisphere. I really need one more land. It's possible this isn't good enough. Like, this land in particular is rough. How many mana dorks am I actually playing? It's only like 2, right? Yeah. I don't think I can mulligan for a mana dork or a vial. I've got 4 of those total. I'm going to keep it. Alright. Dallas? Dallas. That conveniently doesn't do anything versus this hand. I could play a Dryad Arbor out this turn. It will make me much worse versus like a Fury, but otherwise smooths out the hand considerably. I'm gonna go with that. This hand's a little tough because I think if I try to play around a Blood Moon by playing one of these things out, I don't actually accomplish anything. Well, I do with Rex Sage. Ooh, nice. We kind of got away with murder. Snuff out situation is super weird. Like, I have Blood Moon and Snuff out to, like, respect here. And, like, this does just lean into making me worse versus Fury. But I think if my opponent has Fury, they just kill the Dryad Arbor and set me back. And be perfectly happy with that exchange. Yep, that's very good. That occurs. Ooh, no, 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 no. Jealous. I will go ahead and just pass my turn here. I don't have a reasonable play. I have a bunch of colorless lands in my deck that make me kind of want to get a Bayou. Oof. I have a Snuff out for that. I'll wait till my opponent forges it. Not gonna just remove that immediately. Oh shit, I didn't draw a land. Means that I have to, right now, make the choice on whether this is Bayou so that I can cast Endurance with pretty much any land drop, or if it's Swamp to make me better versus Blood Moon. I think it's Bayou. I just don't feel good about it. Now I'll do the Once Upon a Time to make my next land drop. We have Verdant Catacombs. I'll play that and pass. When my opponent goes for Forge, I will snuff that out. My hope is that they do something with their mana that allows me to, like, Dryad Arbor take the initiative. Able. I don't think I get Dryad Arbor here. I don't have that many removal spells for this token. I think I'm just going to keep this a fetch land. Fiend Artisan's big. Let's fetch. Do I get second Forest? Probably get second Forest here. I think I go with Rex Sage and keep my opponent from looting. I'm just behind here. They don't really have a great way to dig out of it. Trap is a problem. My way out of it is, like, play defensively and take the initiative back with Undermountain Adventurer after ripping another land. Alright, I'm down to 8. This is just a queued up creature. Yep, I just have to trade body for body here. Yeah, the Den of the Bugbear is just a problem, though. Like, the extra body that it creates takes back the initiative and puts me in a bad spot. Ugh. Okay. Oh shit, another thing? Blood Moon. Okay. Missed on my land. This is off now. That's a thing. So I'm hoping for mid-combat endurance, take out Goblin Shaman, take the initiative before they Throne of the Dead 3, and then find some way to hold it. But this is going to be tough through, like, the extra card selection my opponent gets here off of Fable. Yeah, they got to junk 2 dead cards. Alright, so they're going to go for the attack. I do this thing. They're at their graveyard, which is unlikely to matter. Take out the creature. My opponent can have some big post-combat plays, another Caves of Chaos Adventurer, a Fury. Yeah, Fury's very good here. That takes out my Endurance and means that they get Throne of the Dead 3. I don't think I win through that. So this is a reveal the top 10 cards, not a search. The Opposition Agent doesn't shut that off, and I can't because of Blood Moon anyway. Didn't hit another land drop to Undermountain Adventurer and buy myself a turn. Let's see how bad it is. Bad. Yeah, so my opponent has, like, Fury, Fable of the Mirror Breaker, plus a Rabble Master with a bunch of counters. I'm comfortable throwing in the towel to that. I don't think I'm going to make any changes here. Like, Oof and Wirewood Herald technically have text. Thoughtseize is a little bit better on the play, but then makes me worse against Vials. I think I'm going to keep this. Like, that was a close one, despite some clunkiness. Not gonna be great against Fury with this hand. I don't think it's worth throwing back. Like, I have a Mana Accelerator and a Once Upon a Time to find a second thing to do here. I have some number of basics as well. I want an Endurance. I think Endurance is better than second Fiend Artisan. Do that. Play a Green Sun for a Dryad Arbor. And call it a turn. Probably play Endurance before I play Fiend Artisan. The whole like Fiend Artisan, lose Dryad Arbor, and Fiend Artisan at the same time play is pretty rough. Would like to avoid that. Ooh, second Chrome Mox. 2 Rabble Masters under there. And a Magus of the Moon. I can't play any of these double pip spells. Guess I could have Mistied on turn 1 to better play around this. But Misty was going to allow me to get untapped black. I think this turn looks like play Haywire Might and just stack it to take out a Chrome Mox, trying to stick my opponent on lower resources. Then I can drop a Shadow Spear into play. Maybe I should have. I don't know. The untapped black matters. It does it. Maybe it doesn't matter that much. I mean, it actually would have with that draw. So I think this is where I'm at. Bash in for 2. It offsets my opponent's Magus of the Moon attack damage, but they will top deck threats that are easier to cast than I will. Or this, yeah, that's until end of turn. That's fine. So they get an extra Magus of the Moon until end of turn and get to hit me for 4. Again, that's not that big of a deal. And I'm just on turn Dryad Arbor sideways duty for a little while. It's unfortunate that it was a Magus of the Moon and not a Blood Moon. I had that covered the other way. Okay, I don't get to attack anymore with Dryad Arbor. Alright. I take some damage. Ooh. That's pretty good. This gives me stuff to do with my mana. Okay. Fury's rough. Like, I know that's only taking out a Dryad Arbor, but it's a pretty big tempo hit right now. I'll make a servo, and my opponent gets to attack in for a bunch. They mentor onto a token. I'll just take all of this. I want to convert this servo ultimately into a 4/4 if I have time. Vial's good, but probably too slow. They're both too... Well, I guess I can do block, convert, and play Vial. Go to 1. Pick Vial up. Feels like I'm dead. No, I think even if I top deck another creature and have Shadow Spear, 4 life doesn't offset what's coming. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and concede here. They've got it. I probably win that one if I fetch with Misty on turn 1, but I don't know that that was correct in a vacuum. Maybe it's so important to have access to green through Blood Moon that I just do it and cut myself off of untapped black. Okay. So I've got a Green Sun for Dryad Arbor to kind of have initial mana ramp. I think I'll keep this one. Deck's very mana hungry and doesn't do great when its early bonus mana is removed. Has to be a Bayou. Fetch the tree. Call it a turn. Forest into a mana dork of their own. So, what am I doing with my life? I always have to play Urza's Saga. I can Fiend Artisan and Haywire Might. I can do a Green Sun for X's 2. Can't do both of these. I think I just want to set myself up for a longer game here. And go this direction. Got a Reclaimer. I'm going to get a Hierarch. Guess I could have gotten another Dryad Arbor and also played Haywire Might. That might have been better. I want to get a Cradle. That's kind of my plan. Okay. Sure. So I think my opponent is just going to be playing the better version of my deck. Like they're gonna be playing Elves. Needle is obviously very strange right now. Opponent gets the first untap with Fiend Artisan, which is kind of a big deal. I think I'm going to do this and then turn Urza Saga into Cradle. And then try to do a big Fiend Artisan activation next turn, probably taking out my opponent's Fiend Artisan with Grist. But yeah, like my opponent gets to activate their Fiend Artisan first, so they can get their Grist online before I can get mine online. Yep. Oh shit, that was not what I was expecting. I lose the game to that. I 100% lose the game to that. Fuck. Yep, I'm gonna concede there. Yep, I punted that one. That shuts off my Fiend Artisan, Elvish Reclaimer, and Urza Saga all at the same time. Okay. We'll play some more Fiend Artisans to shrink my opponent's graveyard, but, like, my opponent is playing the less janky version of my deck. They are incredibly favored in this matchup, accordingly. Cabal Therapy seems pretty bad here. Plague Engineer, I guess, is technically worth having in the deck over something like a Haywire Might. This has no mana acceleration. Snuff Out is good to tempo. I guess I'll keep it. Every one of these hands that has a fucking Dryad Arbor in it is atrocious, though. Like, this is essentially a 6-card hand because of that. Let's drop a Reclaimer, hope that I can snuff out one of my opponent's initial plays, and have time to do something cool. Alright, sure. I don't think you need to play the Misty before doing the Once Upon a Time in case you want to change your land drop. Okay. You get an Ignoble Hierarch, which I will 100% just snuff out for tempo-based reasons. Just do that now. I'm quite certain that I'm always doing it. Another snuff out. So this is just a Fiend Artisan turn. And an attack for 1. And the next turn I'll convert Dryad Arbor into a Gaia's Cradle or a Mana Dork or something. Okay, sure. Yeah, again, every hand where I don't have a Mana Dork is rough. Snuff Out doesn't kill some things like Fiend Artisan. That's super important to kill. So I will fetch here. Dryad. No, I can't Dryad Arbor if I want to. Opposition Agent. I'm just going to Sorcery Speed this. No ability to activate either one of these here. My mana is just too tight. That's fine. Fiend Artisan can only be activated at a sorcery, so when I get priority, I will just snuff that thing out. Another Fiend Artisan. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to just take this out for Gaia's Cradle reasons. Do I want to trade Opposition Agent for Fiend Artisan? I'm just, like, not good at killing Fiend Artisan. Like, I just have to do it in combat. I think I do make that trade. Just 3-3 for 3-3. Turn some of my opponent's utility back on. Starts growing my own Fiend Artisans, though. Cool. Oh, I'm a mana short of where I want to be. This doesn't actually tap for mana. I can do this for X's 2 and get another Fiend Artisan. Okay. Sacrifice the Dryad Arbor. Grab a Fiend Artisan. That turns this into a 3-4 and makes it more useful. I need more mana to be able to, like, get my Grist and start things churning. I'm hoping to get the bigger Fiend Artisans and then drop a Pithing Needle or something. Okay. Shit. I've got a Caracas I can find. The Snuff Out is actually going to stop me from getting Caracas, and I'm probably going to have to concede unless I naturally draw it. Green Sun. Opposition Agent, Verdant. I hate the interface for this card. Okay, so that's what my opponent has. Yeah, so I'm 1 mana short of Grist to answer this. Very surprised my opponent didn't snuff out the Reclaimer. That's my out for eliminating this thing. I'll sack a forest. Get a Caracas. Do I want to turn Elvish Reclaimer into Dryad Arbor 2? Throw both of my Fiend Artisans to 4/4s? I think so. Let's do that before Opposition Agent comes here and ruins all the fun. Alright, there's Dryad Arbor. Yeah, but I'm gonna be at 3 life after this Atraxa hits me. My opponent is going to be at a large life total. I think they win pretty easily. Yeah. Alright, I'm at 3. The Hierarch. That's poor sequencing, right? Like, Hierarch could have been free combat to gain an extra life there. Okay. Sure. Just be a Grist. Sure, that's fine. That's very good. Doing great here. I always play this. I always have to bounce that. Play this and kill one of my opponent's creatures. Just grows their Fiend Artisan, unfortunately. Kill their Hierarch. I don't think I beat their active Fiend Artisan with Cradle. So I think I do this as well. Luckily, most of my creatures are black. So they are immune to the Snuff Out. My opponent just has more natural orders in their deck that they can draw. Okay. Yeah, I thought that was going to come a lot sooner. Oh, okay, they're just going to hurdle up. I think they could have gone more aggro than that. I don't know that they have to, but I think they could have. Dead to Grist ultimate in 2 turns. I'm not baiting this alongside this other stuff. Can't power through. I'm comfortable conceding here. GG's. We end up at 2 and 3. So that's the end of our league here. Overall thoughts on the deck list. The deck looks like an absolute pile of shit, and it plays a lot better than you would expect, but I still don't think this entire deck is worth doing. So, not once did I Cabal Therapy a Wirewood Herald. Not once did I assemble Opposition Agent and Maralen. Until very late in the league, I never activated a Fiend Artisan. I think this deck is very awkward. It plays much better than you would expect it to, but I think there's just like too many problems with the deck. Like, the flex lands are super awkward. I got punished for Lair of the Hydra coming in tapped. I got punished for Bojuka Bog coming in tapped. I got punished for having multiple Dryad Arbors in my deck and drawing them. I got punished against Blood Moon because of how pip intensive this deck is. I think trying to have a 2-color deck with Urza Saga and a handful of searchable utility lands while also playing Cradle is just kind of rough overall. The deck plays a lot better than I would expect it to, but if you ask me, like, what is this deck supposed to be good against? I don't know that I have a good answer to that question. I think the deck has a bunch of decently powerful cards, but you're probably never going to be the better deck at the table. You're going to kind of have the rogue advantage of your opponents not really understanding what you're doing. But beyond that, I think this is a worse version of a lot of decks that exist in Legacy already, especially like the Newton Elves, the Fiend Artisan Elves, kind of like we played against in the last round here. If you want to keep exploring this deck, I would probably say that you just need more mana. Like, the things that are good about this deck are like the Green Suns, the Undermountain Adventurers, the Opposition Agents, Grist, probably not even Fiend Artisan, but like you just need more mana. And 20 creatures is also probably pretty light to be a double Gaia's Cradle deck while we're at it. Like, so much of this package is going towards these Urza Saga artifacts that you're taking away from your creature count to make Cradle better. Alright, anyway, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please click the like button on the way out. It helps out a lot, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. See ya!